So welcome everybody to another Women Entrepreneur webinar from Startup Canada. My name is Kayla Isabel, for those of you who don't know me. I'm the Executive Director here at Startup Canada at headquarters. And we have been doing a series of Women Entrepreneur webinars over the last couple of weeks in light of COVID-19 and sort of supporting our Women Entrepreneur program that we launched mid-March. So these webinars are really intended to support women in business in different areas. So in COVID-19 support spaces, finances, mentorship, growing or scaling their businesses, starting up their businesses, everything under the sun that can support women in business coast to coast to coast. So we're delighted to have Linda on the show today. Linda's a longtime Startup Canada champion and family member that has been engaged in our programming for the last number of years. And Linda is a personal business strategist, a speaker, and author of Amazon's #1 international bestseller, Zest Your Life, a taste of inner wisdom. And she's also a certified dream coach. So I think there's so much to be learned from Linda, especially in light of COVID-19. You know, women in particular are challenged with their businesses on sort of regular days, but during COVID-19, we definitely need to be supporting our network of women entrepreneurs more so than ever. So we're thrilled to be having Linda at the forefront of this conversation today and provide some practical advice. So she has over 25 years of experience in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors and has worked with people from all walks of life, from the Right Honorable Kim Campbell, first female premier for Prime Minister of Canada, entry-level managers in the auto parts industry, to federal inmates serving life sentences. So we're really talking all walks of life here for sure. So Linda's going to be talking, about the challenges that we're facing at the moment and how we can really overcome them intentionally using these strategies that she's developed over the last number of years. For those of you who are participating today, Linda's also happy to give a little bit of a free gift at the end of today's session that I'll let her explain in a moment. But I think today's conversation is really, looking productively around these challenges and finding solutions that can support entrepreneurs across Canada as they start, scale, and sort of navigate these uncharted waters of their businesses. So welcome, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to start by sharing my screen so you can see my slides. Make sure I share the right screen. Okay, oh, that moved you over there. All right, I'll move you back. There we are. So you can see my screen now? Okay, we are ready to start. So thank you very much for having me here. And thank you for the introduction. And thanks to everyone for joining us. It's just great to have so many people on board. And if there are any, didn't notice there were any men in the audience, but if there are, this talk is focused for women, and you'll soon see why. I'm talking all about women, because we're talking about how to activate your wise woman inner power to build our personal community resilience for a better future, particularly for women. That's what Kayla and I discussed back in March. We just thought, how could I help with Startup Canada? And it's particularly for this community of women in leadership, women leaders. There's a new world order that's being formed, and it's up to us to be the leaders shaping it. We are instructed to create a new world. It's there, it's ready for us, and we're ready for it too. I recently read the statement from the UN Undersecretary General and UN Women Executive Director. It's titled COVID-19 Women Front and Center. It's quite a long piece, but you could look it up. But this stuck out to me. This is an opportunity to build back better, stronger, resilient, and equal society. It's a time for bold prioritization. That's the part that really got to me. And we can see this all around, can't we? We can see that more and more women are stepping up at this time. It's the women ministers, it's the women heads of countries, and the women's heads of health units and health organizations, and all the women on the front lines in the community and in the home. It's women like you that are on the call today that are leading the way. And I'm not here to give you the answers, because you already have them. You are a woman of power. You are a leader. You know that. I'm here to link arms with you as we make the world a better place.
And Linda, perhaps I can step in for a moment as well. So we'll be going through Linda's presentation for the first section of the presentation and this webinar component. If you do have questions, you're welcome to put them in the Q&A function. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little Q&A button, and we can get to them at the end. But if you do need clarification on anything, you're welcome to flag that throughout. So just a quick flag there. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, good. Thank you. Is your wall orange behind you? It looks like it's a bit.
Yes, it is. I match. Look at me. I've got
Awesome.
the world and I've got the orange.
I love it. So I want you to be gentle with yourself. You know, it's a tender time. So it's just time to be gentle with yourself, because what we're going to cover today is going to help you nurture yourself, to improve relationships and make a difference in your community. I love using the structure of the wheel. It's something I learned from my shamanic studies, and we're going all around the wheel. Your feelings, your possessions, your thoughts, your connection, and the catalyst in the center is your power. And we're going to be looking at all of those because we're going to activate each of those energy aspects one at a time. So you're used to you're familiar with connecting the present to the past. We're always doing that, right? So often we're looking to the past saying, trying to figure out, always trying to solve the problem. What happened? What led us to this time, to this place, to this situation? Right now, the past and our personal past may be triggering us. It's challenging to feel like you're in power and control, because we're all sharing the fear, the pain, the tension about the unknown, the uncertainty. It's human nature to be fearful in times of uncertainty, and it usually keeps us safe. That's why we're fearful, because we learned how to run. So today we're going to do it differently, because it's also human nature for women to step up and make things better. So instead of connecting the present to the past, we're going to flip it around for a bit, and we're going to connect the present. We're going to step into the future. So the present into the future to see where we are. So here's the present. This is where we are. Everyone on the planet is on Fear Island. We could call it a couple of other things, but we're going to keep it clean. We're going to stay polite and not call this island anything else. It's Fear Island. And you have that choice to stay on Fear Island, curled up in a ball in the corner. I know, I've been there. Or, you know, just share in the comments, in the chat box a little bit. What are you afraid of? What's really striking you as the fear?
What does the future hold? Yep, that's a good one. The economy. Mm-hmm. I think we're hearing from many entrepreneurs, you know, it's this fear of the unknown, and it's this urgency also to pivot very creatively, this fear around, you know, having to be the best entrepreneur right now and being really innovative. What does the new normal look like? Life as we know it changing. Is this in general, or to Linda, this is a question to you. Is this in general or just relevant to our current COVID-19 situation?
It's more what's triggered us to be on Fear Island, and that's COVID.
In general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Health.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, I put it in my journal that I'm healthy. Yep. Thank you so much for your comments. You know, you could be on Fear Island, or you could live in such a way that when your feet hit the floor, Satan says, oh, shit, she's up. And then you know you're shaking things because you just made Satan scared. Do you choose to take that bridge over to Power Island? And of course, when you're on Power Island, you're going to be reading my books, Zest Your Life, A Taste of Inner Wisdom. So we're at the island of choice. You know, you choose the life that you dream, that you desire, that you design, and you may not have those dreams the way you thought they would, but it may be a whole new opportunity for them to come out differently than what you had planned. Allow for the possibility that your dreams may be bigger and better than what you dreamed because of where you're going to be. You know, you're the leader in charge of your days, your life, and your legacy. When you're faced with an enormous challenge and you don't know how you're going to manage the situation or survive, you need to pull all your true power together to do what needs to be done, to activate the energy, power, and strength that you hold in the world. It's there. And as you view your life, be more conscious of what you need to do now in the present to create the kind of energy that will forge a desirable future. So today's exercise, if I may call it that, can yield dramatic results in both your immediate life and in your future. So who do you want to be? Who is this powerful, wise woman? Who is this leader? So let's look into the future with a focus to start with the who. Who do you want to be in 6 months from now? And we start with the who because the person you're going to be in 6 months will determine what you can do in 6 months. We're different now than we were 6 months ago, aren't we? Hell, we're different now than we were 6 weeks ago. And we're all changing. We choose to evolve and raise our vibration and our place as leaders. We keep pulling that up for ourselves. And that will help us determine where we're going to be and who we're going to be in 6 months. So we're going to keep this theme, and we're going to walk around the wheel. So we start with the emotional, your feelings. Have you noticed that your most vivid memories are tied, good or bad, they're tied to emotions? Because you remember in those experiences how you feel. That's what you remember. It's that feeling, that saying, people forget what you say and did. They always remember how you made them feel. So that's a really significant piece. And have you noticed that every week in isolation, a different emotion is coming up? Remember the first week, zero focus, and all I could think of. I went to bed, I could, COVID, that's all I could think of. I saw those words in my dream. The second week, I think I had PTSD, post-traumatic stress from the week before. And I was just distracted. I wasn't getting anything done. And then I had a couple of times of just feeling just hopeless. And I didn't sleep well. I was apparently talking in my sleep. I know I was yelling in my sleep because I was scaring my husband a lot. And when I scream, I tell you, it could have rattled the windows. And the third week I got better. And by the fourth week, it was like, okay, we got things to do. Let's do things. I'm not sitting around watching Netflix. I got to prepare this presentation. So the emotions have been all over the place. And when I'm confused about how I feel, I put my hand on my head and I close my eyes usually, and I take a little look inside to see what's going on and what am I thinking about? What's the story in there that I'm reviewing and revising and focusing on? And of course, I'm gathering supporting evidence because I just made this story up in my head. So I'm going to get some evidence to support that one. How would I describe my feelings right now? And then I move my hand to my heart. That's where the feeling is. Knowing what I'm thinking about leads me to know what I'm feeling. And when I'm thinking about the worst case scenarios or something negative, I feel bad. So do it with me. Put your hand on your head and capture what you're thinking. Are you surprised at how much is swirling around in there? How much is going on in your mind? Things to do, places to go, people to meet? Oh no, none of that, because there's no place to go, nothing to do, no one to meet. As these thoughts are going by, grab the one that tugs at you. A thought that has an emotional charge. Hold it in your mind, and you put some of those fears on your in the chat box. So grab one of those. And now slide your hand down to your heart. Take a couple of breaths. Can you feel that difference? Can you hold that feeling there? And to connecting with your heart opens some space for that vibration and energy of love and kindness and gratitude. You may be grateful that you don't have any place to go. And you probably are grateful that there were some people you didn't even have to see at Easter time. It's like, whew, good, we dodged that. We don't have to go see those people. So when you've got something gone up here, just bring it back down into your heart and see how that feels. Now back to the question. Who do you want to be in 6 months from now? The person you're going to be in 6 months will determine what you can do in 6 months. And your feelings and those emotions, they're the most powerful thing you have to help you navigate through life. And they can all be changed. That's one thing that I work on with my clients. See, what can you do today to keep your emotions strong? That's what this is about. And build up your emotional resilience to step into your place as the leader. And being a leader doesn't always mean being in front, because I know a lot of women don't like to use those. There's a couple of words some women are afraid of. One of them is power. I had one client, she couldn't say it. When I first started working with her, she could not say the word power. And she certainly couldn't say, I am a powerful woman, which is one of the exercises that I can do. You know, look in the mirror in the morning and say, I am a leader. And then you'll step into those shoes as a leader. But it's not always leading from the front. It could be from leading from behind also, and showing the way. You know, notice what makes you feel good, what gives you energy, what raises your vibration, and what do you love? Drop it into the comments, into the chat, because when you tell me what you love, I know about your life and I know about you, because what you love tells me a lot about you. Oh yes, Jill loves to travel. Jill's a travel writer. Oh yeah, nice. Well, lately, as the people are putting in their chat, I love bird singing. I love the spring. We can hear the cardinals, all the birds, travel and adventure. Yeah. The geese are coming back. We could hear that. We've got new plants are starting to grow. Elaine loves the ocean, travel, animals. You're probably sitting on your lap, Elaine. Growing, you know, I love watching the plants grow. I seeded my lettuce outside like a month ago, because you can actually seed it in the fall in some places. I love breathing deeply. I love being supported. I love being supported by others. I love laughing, quilting, color, travel, yoga. And we have some yoga people here. Outdoors, yeah, just being in nature and smelling the, yeah, feeling alive. Okay. So when you tell me all of the things that you love, then it tells me about you. And so thank you for the comments. And gratitude itself is a huge emotional energy booster. You know, did your energy shift again when you thought about what you loved compared to what you thought about when you wrote what you were afraid of? You see, in my book, there's only two emotions, fear and love. And you can't operate in both at the same time. So you may be up here in your hand. You know, the thinker didn't go like this for no reason. It was all in his head. But if you get into your feelings and you get into your heart, the love will open, because you can't have the two going at the same time. And now that we're over the initial shock of COVID-19 reality, we can determine what energies, what emotions, and what new skills do we want in order to create the kind of outcomes we truly desire. So I don't know if you all want to be blowing tea out of your teapot into the cup, or if you really want to be stepping into it. I just couldn't resist this. I thought it was so great. Yeah, so what new skills did you acquire during the self-quarantine? Can you be doing things creatively like Startup Canada is with doing these webinars? And thank you again for doing this. You know, in your work, in your business, what pieces can you influence and control? The very first thing I do with my clients is a values exercise, because aligning your values, your beliefs, your thoughts, and your emotions, they're so important because our values guide us. And I found it difficult to work from the list. So I made a deck of cards, got like over 50 cards with values on them. And that's what I work with my clients. Just sort them all out and you pick your 5 top values, because that's going to guide you. And if we would have done this 2 months ago, it might be different. We might all be having our top value right now as health. which is one of my top 5 is in there, health. Because when you know your own values and you're living them, it makes you the goddess of your own life and your own dreams. And it gives you that power to uncover your authentic self. Your authentic self, to stop trying to become something you're not. Because I did this exercise with one of my clients, and because you also look at your bottom 5 values, and she found she kept falling into those bottom 5 values. She said, I'm doing it, and that's like number 50 on my list, but I'm being pushed and pulled to do something that does not align with my values. And she refers to it again and again and again to her values exercise. So I want you to encourage you to deal with your thoughts and emotions in a healthy, uplifting, and a lasting way, because emotions are so powerful. And the more highly emotionally charged an experience, the more influence it can exert on your thoughts, your behaviors, your feelings, your finances, your career, and relationships. Now, let's face it, they're new patterns because the kids are in the house or the spouse is in the house, and we need to adapt to that in a positive way. I also want to caution you not to be creating any negative patterns or habits that may be difficult, if not impossible, to stop when COVID ends. During that first week of isolation, I think I set a personal record in how many bags of chips I could eat. I ate 5 bags of chips, like big bags of chips. Honest, that's a record even for me, no kidding. And I haven't put them on the grocery list since, so I'm grateful for that. But really, you know, we can become attached to chips, alcohol, food, sex, gambling, people, any number of activities that may start off as a simple pleasure, and it can turn into an unhealthy addiction. In fact, Health Canada and other organizations have expressed a very serious concern about this, and for good reason. So just like we pay attention to what makes us feel good, pay attention to what's depressing you, what makes you sad, what new routines are going on that are bringing you down. And you may even want to take the opportunity to drop habits that you have had that are not serving you. Maybe you had a habit of spending too much time on Facebook or whatever it is. To take a look at it and see if you could drop that habit. So then 6 months from now, you could say, well, I gave that up, whatever it was. So you want to make good choices now so that in a year from now, you can look back and know that you became stronger, more resilient, and resourceful, and better able to cope emotionally with what's going on around you. Have you ever noticed that right now, everybody's really touchy, everybody's emotional, everybody's sensitive? Just spend 5 minutes on Facebook and you'll see people are calling each other out. Honestly, it's unbelievable what's going on in there. You know, they're calling out a public official, what somebody was reported to have said or done. And in this time, it's very possible that you and I are going to say something or do something that's going to be taken by someone else as they're going to take offense. Someone may say or do something that we may take offense to. So remember, words like swords get you into and out of trouble. That's why I love the word swords and that word's in there. So because words tie the emotional feeling and the mental thoughts together. And we need to be really gentle with our words. It reminds me of a story about a child, and you may have heard this story. And the child was very, very angry and upset. And the parent took the child aside and said, go get a bucket, a hammer, and some nails. And the child came back with a bucket full of nails and a hammer. And the parent said, now go over to that fence and bang all those nails in there. And then he came back with the empty bucket and the hammer. And the parent said, now go back and take all the nails out. The child did, came back with a full bucket of nails and the hammer. And the parent said, yeah, that's what happens when you hurt people's feelings. You say sorry, but the holes, they're there. They're still there. So we want to be really gentle, not just with the words we say to others online, but those words we say to ourselves in there. We want to be gentle with our words to ourselves. So let's talk about the mental energy aspect, because there's that direct link between that emotional mental. That's why I love working on the wheel. And our feelings, our thoughts, they drive our actions and our behaviors, and not always in the right direction. Dr. Lise Janelle, that I quote in my book, says what we hold in our thoughts, beliefs, and unresolved emotions may be the greatest threat to our health in our lifetime. So we want to heal those unresolved emotions. And I help clients to see their patterns, to see their unresolved emotional patterns, and to help them find solutions to that. And here's the biggest mind block barrier that I've discovered is complaining. Have you ever seen so much complaining in all your life? And there's so much complaining that now I'm complaining about the complaining. So I have this system. It's called it started as a 21-day non-complaining challenge. And I usually I hand these out at events. It's a handful of elastics. You just take an elastic and you put it on your wrist. So you don't want to snap it, because we've all had enough pain in our lives. As soon as I hand out the elastics, people think they're going to have to snap. No snapping, no pain. Whenever you complain, you just slip it onto the other arm. That's all you have to do. So you want to, I did this in a group. Somebody complained about the color of her elastic. It was like, oh dear God. So get an elastic that you could deal with that's not too tight, and give it a try to see if you even can go one day without complaining, and just change it from one wrist to the other, and get other people around you involved too. It's real fun, because we've got a saying in our family, we don't complain about the complaining. We just, do you need an elastic, Grandmama? It was like, okay, right. I maybe need an elastic sometimes. So you want to encourage, it's a fun exercise, and you'll be surprised how difficult it is to not complain, and especially right now, I think. And sometimes people think complaining and getting it off their chest is a good thing. And yes, inside counts count. Even if you're thinking of a complaint, it counts. So you still need to change the elastic. And, people think getting it off their chest is good. It's not. It's complaining. It's very low energy when you get it off your chest, because it's like putting the nails into that fence. You're leaving holes all over the place. You're spreading it out. And, you want to rework your vocabulary too, because sometimes we'll express things as a complaint, but we're not really complaining. It's just like, oh, I'm always the one that has to do this. That sounds like a complaint. Instead, you can rework your vocabulary and just say, I could really use a hand with this. I could use some help with this. I was doing an interview on TV, and I presented this exercise, and one of the interviewers said, oh, great, now I have to count my complaints. Well, we had a good chuckle, because of course she had to change her elastic hands right away. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. Anything that starts with a curse or a swear, it's probably going to be a complaint. So now let's move over to the physical. The physical I'm talking about is your physical body on a physical planet, and anything that is physical in your life. So it's your possessions, your house, your body, your car, your clothes, your money, the environment you live in. So when we look at the physical, does your physical living space feel in balance? Working together with the children and the spouse and the animals, all the physical patterns could have changed. So does it vibrate? Are there vibrations of love and peace and harmony around you? And if there isn't, what can you do to spruce it up and increase the positive energy? And your body, it's more important now than ever to keep your physical body strong and healthy, barring all those jokes, all those illustrations on Facebook on how much weight everybody's going to gain. Remember, we're on the island of choice. We don't have to do that. because keeping your emotions in control keeps your body in control. Keeping your body in control keeps your emotions. There's a circle going here. So it's all tied together. And every study shows that exercise is good for you. It increases the oxytocin, and that makes you feel happier and healthier and more vibrant. And personally, I love weight training because you see results right away. It's like in a matter of a week, you can really feel that when you lift something, you have more power. And I'm walking a lot more. When I'm done this, I'm going for a 10K walk. So I'm really loving it. At first, my feet were a little twitchy because they weren't used to that. And now they're fine. Like, it's all good. I had a little sore muscles that night just to remind me, but it was like my body was saying, thank you. Thank you for getting out of your chair and taking me for a walk. So it's always a great adventure to be able to get out, take a walk, and keep ourselves strong physically. Now, the physical and the spiritual connect. They're all connected, but there are those straight lines that go right across. And there's something that's called a runner's high, and it takes away your pain. I'm not a runner. I don't try to run, but runners do. But I get the same feeling when I lift the weights. It's total. There's no pain involved. The pain is gone. And it's because you're being flooded with all those endorphins, and they're being released by the exercise. It also can be described as a spiritual experience. So being active and exercising, that can open the door to a whole spiritual experience. Even just taking a walk, it doesn't have to be far. It might just be up and down your driveway. That's what my sister's doing. She's and her husband are both well into their 80s, and they're just walking up. They don't have sidewalks on their street. So they just walk up and down their driveway a few times a day, and she practices her Tai Chi. So it's important for us to be able to get out when we can. And the other thing you may want to do, a lot of people are cleaning and purging, I know that. But while you're doing that, can you create a space that may be a sacred space for yourself? It can be just time to regroup. It could be a closet. I've done sacred ceremony in closets sometimes just to close the door and get away. And, it could be any space can be sacred space to you. You want to just establish that place where you can have just a moment of peace and quiet. When I was doing my workshops with the auto parts suppliers to Honda, the session that I do on time management, I always made sure I'd finish a little early, and I would give them 1 minute of peace, because that may be the last minute they would have all day. And it was interesting because they would fidget at first, these guys that put tires together. And then it would take about the first 10, 12 seconds then they would settle down. And so they got to the end of the minute. A lot of them didn't want it to end because they knew they had to go back into that noisy environment of work. So just taking that moment in the stillness and the silence, so it can open us up to spirituality, to find our higher self, our super consciousness. That's where our wise woman inner power is. That's where it is. And if there's too much noise going on, then you can't hear yourself and you're in there. Stillness is that spiritual practice of just clearing the mind. And there's a peace and calm that exists beneath that constant batter that we listen to all day within our minds. So can you do that? Can you physically sit still? Someone the other day gave me the practice. He said, just stare at a wall. Just see if you could just sit nice and straight and just stare at the wall for as long as you can. And just let whatever thoughts come and go to just clear the mind. And it's really quite amazing what can happen and how much things can change. Meditation. Meditation's proven to help the emotions, the physical, the mental, the spiritual. Meditation, I've been doing the Mind Valley 6-phase meditation. I don't know how many of these books I've filled. I could do a brand new one. Takes me about 10 months to fill the book. I meditate every day, and I love it because it's a written meditation that I have to do. And he walks you through the 6 phases. It's free, it's online. Just Google Mind Valley 6-phase meditation. I've been doing it for over 3 years. So it includes gratitude in there. It's really centering how I start my day every day. Now, this is an image of Lake Superior. So just imagine, yeah, I've got my Lake Superior rock right here. Isn't she a beauty? Yeah, it's all smooth because that lake can get real rough. I've been caught in a 21-foot sailboat and gale force winds on Lake Superior. It doesn't always look like this. But just imagine sitting on that beach. The rocks are so smooth, it doesn't even hurt when you're sitting on the beach. And you're looking at the clear water and you could just feel it. You can feel Mother Earth and her powerful forces. Because spirituality, it gives us hope and it allows for the possibility that when we open our hearts, we can manifest our dreams and our dreams will come true and the unexplained will happen. You want to open up and let love, life, abundance, and spirit just fill you up. Without demand or expectation, you just receive all the bounty that's yours. We're not very good at receiving our way. So this just reminds us that Mother Earth put us here. Mother Earth is keeping us here. You could ask for divine help and guidance when you're in that space and time. You say, I've got my angel wings over here on my lamp. Do you know angels are unemployed unless you give them a job? So it's true. It's amazing, isn't it? They are. All those unemployed angels just waiting for you to give them a job. Well, give them a job. And now we're into the center. So a catalyst triggers change. It's that spark that fuses the energies of your emotional, your mental, your physical, your spiritual. And often it takes a catalyst to make changes in life. So being fired, a relationship breakup, a new hot relationship, moving to a new city, or an illness can spark you to review and renew your beliefs and gain a new understanding of yourself. If you've been on my website and read my about page, my 3-year journey with my catalyst that changed my life. I was sick for 3 years, but you could go check that out. That's what happens. You have that catalyst that happens. And COVID-19 is a catalyst of epic proportions. Catalyst, it's a time of great potential to learn and to grow. And it's not just COVID-19, it's that ripple effect that it's having on the universal energy field in countries, governments, in our cities, in our workplace, in our homes, in our hearts, in our souls. It's that ripple effect. But every time life falls apart, we grow, we heal, and it transforms us into being a stronger, more authentic, wise woman. So you've heard my words, but you don't know that you have inner power until you're tested. And we are never, ever tested against our strengths. Damn it. We're always tested against our weaknesses. Weird how that works, eh? We're always tested against our weaknesses. And trust me, you will be tested. And you already have been. And you got stronger and more resilient. Now back to the question, the who. Who do you want to be in 6 months from now? October 23rd. 6 months from now, from today, is October 23rd. So the person you're going to be in 6 months from now will be the one leading the way to make your dreams come true. So how do you want to be so that we can be that leader, to have a better world, to build a better community? Now's the time to imagine a new story for your life and to start living it. Now is the time. Imagine what your life will be like when you're out of the current situation and you're crystallizing what you want in business and life so that you're in power and control. What kind of results do you think you'd get if you knew exactly what you want in your life? What are you going to do differently? Want to share that in the comments? What are you going to change? Think about that. What are you going to change or do differently? Mindset's a good start. Ah, the inside of the head complaining. Uh-huh. I hope you find a good elastic. They sell them at Staples. I buy them in bags of 50 or 100 because I go through a lot of elastics. I usually keep them in my purse. And then I tell people the story about the complaining. Be more present. Yes, that's certainly true. Big bag of elastics. And it's, you know, when I was on TV talking about the complaining, Derek Fadge said that. He says, yeah, my father said that. When you walk into your workplace and you go, oh yeah, that crazy driver, and then everybody else tells another bad story and you're just making it worse. We don't want to be doing that. There's a lot of changes that are going on. So just like we had a guide when I hiked the Inca Trail in Peru, you know, he helped us to find the path, because when you're hiking the Inca Trail, it doesn't have any sign markers, right, that says this way to Machu Picchu. And it's a long way. But he showed us things we would not have seen our own. He showed us where the path is. So how do you think a guide would change your personal life and your business life? I help women in leadership crystallize what they want in business and life so that they are in power and control. And then I help them build a strategy to align, amplify, and attract their existing dreams. You know, we bring this together through open heart connections, through the values, and the wisdom of ancient women's teachings, some of which you've experienced here today. So I have a gift for you. And so that you can start to explore what are your dreams and desires. I have an ebook that will help you get that. And the website is right there on the, if you go to that bit.ly link, Get Zest Now, that's where you go and you'll be able to download your free ebook that will walk you through the process of how to identify your dreams and desires. And if you'd like to book a free 30-minute chat with me, go to my website, right on the homepage, right there, book a chat, a call with Linda, and we'll have a little talk. And I will leave you with 2 final words. Be nice, just be nice. Thank you.
I love that, Linda. Thank you. And somebody asked at the beginning of the session, will this presentation be shared? Is that part of the package that can be distributed afterwards?
You mean the slides? Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to get the recording and they can go to your website to see the recording if that's sufficient.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. That's
okay.
Cool. So questions from everybody. There's a bottom Q&A function at the bottom of your screen that you can type in a few questions. Thank you so much, Linda, for all of those sort of points of reflection. What I'm thinking through over the last couple of weeks is taking these kind of strategic pauses, because there's so much, running through all of our minds, and we're, pivoting in all these different ways and starting our businesses or shifting our businesses or serving entrepreneurs that are doing both of those things as well. So there's so much going on that taking these moments to reflect and try to prioritize your goals and where you're going to be over the next couple of months is such an important exercise. When thinking through this evolving landscape over the next couple of months, I think one of the hardest things is we don't know what the world is going to look like a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now. How do you encourage women to be sort of flexible in that even if the world is changing, how you prioritize yourself or the goals that you can set for yourself can be, finite, or that you're working towards a specific goal? How do you navigate trying to expand your own self in a finite period of time, but when the world around you is completely changing?
Well, for me, it really has to go my values. What are my most important things in my life? Mm-hmm. And what do I value the most? Well, it's health, integrity, family, and making a difference and being of service. So mm-hmm. if we think of that, if we think when we think of what we've done as women our whole lives and what women have always done, we're the ones that build the community. We're mm-hmm. the ones that are of service. And we can do that without sacrificing ourselves. I think that's the magic, is to be able to step, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. We don't hurt ourselves. That's what this was about. Make sure that in 6 months from now, you haven't beat the shit out of yourself, because it's so easy to do that. And 6 months from now, you might look back and go, oh, I had 6 months off and I shoulda, and I shoulda, and I coulda, and I didn't. Don't do that. Do whatever today so you'll have no regrets in 6 months from now. And that may be, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day. She says, I can't focus. I think she's on the call. And she says, I can't focus. And I said, one thing, just do one thing today. That's all you need to do. So you get your Post-it note, you write one thing you're going to do. And when you do that one thing, then you can do another thing. But let's just do just like one step at a time, one thing. We're just going to focus on one thing, because otherwise we're like that farmer that's trying to put in a fence line and all he does is, you know, digs a little in each post and nothing happens. That's not the way you do it. You drill one hole all the way down, you put the fence, you put the post in. So that's what we're going to do with our lives from now on. We're digging the hole all the way in. We're planting our flag right here.
Fantastic. I love that. And I love that connection to values, that even in a changing world, your values are still going to, you know, if you have a really strong sense of that, that will be kind of maintained. I love that. Okay, so another question, finding balance between family and personal goals. How do you find that balance?
Well, it's not always good. Last year, I think I was pushing a rock uphill and my family all felt it. And it was not good because I took on a very masculine being the active way to do it. I started to work like my husband used to work. My husband was a corporate CEO and would be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, not home until 9:30 at night, working 90 hours a week. And I thought, oh, I'm going to, you know, I hired a very expensive coach and highly paid coach, very valuable coach. And oh shit, I just did that like Trump. Valuable coach. She's very valuable. And and then I wanted to make it so worth it that I wanted to get everything out of having hired her. So I worked way too many hours and I didn't get to spend enough time with my family. And when I finally had the reality check that that's not the way I wanted to do it, then I could balance it out more. And it's a matter of blocking time. So it's that if you block time and you put it on your schedule that you're going to, right now, you know, my grandchildren live 4 doors away and I can't see it. I called to see them and they said, no, they're not out until recess. They have a tough school. Oh. So block time. Block time to be able to go for a walk, spend time with your family, even if it's on a call. I'm blocking time to call my sister more often because I know she's walking up and down the driveway and that gets a little monotonous. And I could always make her laugh even when she's crying. So it's always a big charge for me to be able to call her. And and just bring some laughter into somebody else's life. And you know who your family is. You know who your priority is. You know, connect with them. And it doesn't have to be every day. And you can have your business goals. And let's make our business goals something that's going to be of service to ourselves first, because if it doesn't serve us, it's not going to serve anybody.
And I think one extra layer that I might add to that as well is being truly present in both of those spaces. That if you have one foot kind of straddling both at the same time, it doesn't feel as fulfilling and you have that sense of lack or something missing. So really investing in your professional goals, go to town on that, but also when you're with your family or focusing on your personal goals, honor that space and don't kind of cause that grayness in between.
And what keeps me focused on that is when my daughter was little, she, mommy, 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 mommy. And I said, I'm listening. And then she got smart. She's a smart girl now too. She went like this with her little finger and had me bend down. I bent down. She clamped her hands onto my ears and held onto my head and said, now you're listening. Oh God. And she wouldn't let me go. Yeah. Until I had complete eye contact with her and I was listening. So I remind myself of that. Her other good line she gave me a couple of years ago was when I walked into her house and I had my phone in my hand and she looked at me and she said, there's nobody in there that loves you more than me.
Wow. Wisdom.
Yeah. So I put my phone away and it's true. Yeah. You know, there's nobody in your phone that loves you more than the person you're with.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great. Any final questions to pose to Linda before we sign off for the day? I think, this is such a wonderful moment. And I think one of the other things that you brought up is thinking of, your values in this current time. And I love this quote that I heard maybe on a Brene Brown quote, it was the author of Wild, Cheryl Strayed. Don't let the former idea of what you had of yourself and what you used to see yourself as form the way that you sort of approach your future. That try to be, really present in what you want, and don't let this legacy expectation of what other people have for you or of what you had for yourself affect where you go in the future. So that was one other thing that I was thinking about during your presentation. Mm-hmm. One more question. So how can we begin to set your mind on your passion while taking care of your responsibilities? And if you're struggling emotionally at the moment? Great question.
Well, that's part of being just really clear on what it is that you want. That's why I work with women to crystallize what it is that they want in their business, in their life. And that free ebook's going to help you do that. Because if you don't know exactly what you want, then how are you going to get it? You don't know what you're working towards. So once you're clear on exactly what it is that you want to achieve, what you want to do, then you're going to be able to build that strategic plan to make it happen. But you need to be clear first on what it is that you want to do. And then you're going to do just one thing every day towards that, and make sure that it's always leading you back to that. Every single thing that I do leads me to the center of I also use my circles and my mind maps to do my strategic plan. And everything leads me to that center core of what it is I want to accomplish. And, you may be doing more responsibilities than you need to be doing. I quote this in my book about standing in the middle of the hall. I say it's somebody else, it wasn't, it was me standing in the hall. 2 teenagers, my husband, all of them yelling at me because the kids kept taking his sports socks. And I'm trying to defend his damn socks. And finally I said, hell, okay, I'm done. I'm done with the sports sock thing. I'm not doing this anymore. None of you worry about whether I've got the right clothes or socks or stockings or whatever to wear to work. You deal with your own socks. And I never worried about his socks before. I used to fold all the clothes. I don't anymore. I don't have to do that. So take a good look. Are you the only one that can do whatever task it is? Maybe somebody else can do that. My sister's husband does all the laundry and she does all of something else. So it doesn't. Take a good look and ask for help wherever you can get some help. Maybe now's a good chance for you to get rid of some of those tasks you do. My granddaughters, they're cleaning the house. They've never cleaned the house before. It's just, I don't know why everybody makes a fuss about cleaning the toilet. She's 12. She says, you just take the brush, you swish it around and flush the toilet. It's clean. It's no big deal. So it's, you just need to get everybody involved so that they can make a difference.
Many hands make light work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And don't forget your dreams. They all start in your imagination. So you need to start there. Otherwise your dreams can't come true.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody else, just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong when other people help. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Really great. Well, thank you, Linda. This was wonderful, a wonderful inspiration, I think, for all of us during a really challenging time. So thank you for taking the time to connect with all of us. All of these recordings of our Women Entrepreneur webinars are available on Startup Canada's website. So be sure to share that. And we do have a number of webinars every Tuesday and Thursday. Next week's schedule is a little bit different because we're going to be joined by Minister Ng and talking through some of the Government of Canada's resources that they're providing to entrepreneurs at this moment. So you can check that out on our website. Our next webinars for women entrepreneurs specifically are Lessons on Awakening Entrepreneurship with Catherine Bell, the founder of The Awakened Company and serial entrepreneur. That's going to be on Wednesday, April 29th. And then we'll have another series over the next coming weeks, ending about the end of May with our Women Entrepreneur Program webinar series, but more programming will be coming out of there. You can also register for our social impact programming if you are a social enterprise or social entrepreneur or someone who's interested in pursuing that in that space. All of that can be found on our website. And we encourage you, really to squeeze as much out of all of the resources that are being provided to you. See what I did there, Linda?
The juice out of it.
Out of all of these resources. We're trying to offer as much variety as possible to support entrepreneurs across Canada in many ways, both emotionally and sort of practically within their businesses. So thank you again to everyone participating today. And Linda will definitely be keeping you in the loop on things that as they progress over the next coming months. But Linda will be sharing that wonderful ebook for everybody to use immediately after this session. So that'll be a great read for all of us.
I put it in the chat box.
There we go. We've already got it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can get started now. Wonderful. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Best of luck as we continue to collectively navigate these challenging times. And thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Linda. Okay.